Okay. Oh, here we are. Hi everyone. Everything is screaming, but we're back. It's not going to be a long one. If we make it to an hour, we will be very, very lucky. Um, what are we doing today? What are we doing today? That's a very good question. What we are doing today is just going to work a bit more on projects. We're just going to try and get some stuff done. As you know, like a couple of weeks back, we were ill for the week, which meant we couldn't really do anything. Last week, I was recovering from that, and hiya, uh, yeah, all kind of went out because I had to go to hospital at the end of the week after fainting at work. So it basically meant last week we didn't really get anything done. Um, but what I have done is I've sat down, got some notes, been taking notes through the week. And yeah, so I'm just going to quickly. One of the first things we're going to do is go through my notes. I think I'm okay. I've got medical tests out the wazoo coming up, so we will just have to see. But I've got some notes I've been writing down. Different thoughts. So the first one we're going to do is going to put them down. We might then quickly jump to another project I'm working on, which is a psionic class. Or we'll keep the ball rolling with adding to this adventure. But as I said, this is me kind of working my way back into streaming again after last week's sudden bout. So it's probably going to be an hour, just an hour writing down ideas, talking through ideas, and yeah, we'll see where we go from there. So things I want to do is I want a thing in the overseer's office. Things I wanted to do was I wanted another threat here, which would be yeah, this is the SCP like adventure. So I've been coming up with some extra ideas for threats. Um, uh, do, 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 so that's notes. Delete one. Everything's wanted. And yeah, yeah. I didn't remember the name, but I kind of remember the premise. I just like the idea of just having a moment where you're sat there talking to a player, and obviously the player is very concerned, and you're constantly sat there going, "How do you react to this? How do you react to the shit that's going on? Like, how do you react to the concept that you cannot show emotion, but behind the entity that you're talking to, a giant, terrifying thing is just coming through the air ducts? How do you react to these two things happening in simultaneous? The watchers, the players kind of go, Yeah, it's interesting things like that I'm going to be making people deal with. Yes, I've been going through different concepts for magic items. This floor has a bunch of useful stuff, so I've just been making a list of items I would put there. Yeah, some of these are going to be silly things that surely no one in their right mind would choose to take as magic items, but that I'm going to leave for the players to deal with. Ah, see, it's less that they're useless, it's just that they're very concerning. Like, there is a use for them. For example, one of the ones I came up with was a ring of featherfall. How this works is, it's a ring of, actually, it's a ring of featherfall that someone made that's broken, because instead of, it does stop you falling, but it stops you falling by creating a field of reverse gravity. I'm sure some of these will be useful for people. Yeah, it's actually from the Critical Role book. Uh, it probably won't be the actual Luxon beacon. I'll probably mess with it, but I kind of like the idea of what the Luxon beacon does. So I, I'm going with bag of holding shenanigans. I'm going with the full bag of holding. It's a bag of holding that no one knows how they filled it, but they filled it. So if you want to if you want to put something in, you're going to have to pull something out. You don't get a choice in what you pull out because as the person who picked up the bag when it was full, you don't know what's actually in there. What I might say is you can think about what you want to put in, and you will pull something out of roughly equivalent size. Um, yeah, yeah. Bags of holding are not infinite size, so um, what does I call them? Yep. At least you didn't do the other terrible decision, which is what happens if we put a bag of holding in a portable hole. But it's a mistake you will never repeat again. Oh, I see. Yeah. Necklace of prayer beads. The joy of half of these is they probably won't actually get used because if the players are smart, they're just not going to interact with these things. But on the other hand, they might get creative, and for that I will reward them. Oh, oh no. Ah, nice. Let's have a look. Reveler. Ah, yes. Yeah, one of the things I've been finding that's quite useful is just having magic items where it's just, it does this thing, but normally you would have to roll or you would have control. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to have you in a situation where you cannot control it, you cannot. There is no control here, there is just. There is just madness. The Phyxis is basically, it's from the Theros book. It's basically Pandora's box. Which feels like a magic item you would keep sealed away. Not, not letting people play around with it. Yeah, a few of these, what I've gone with is kind of, what if we do the inverse? Yeah. So tempted with Ring of Telekinesis to have a Ring of Newtonian Physics that's just, if you exert a force on something using the Telekinesis spell, an equal and opposite force is applied to you. Actually, yes, I want to do that now. So that's just going to make me smile for a while. Uh, what's the thing? You push the button and it stops moving. Immovable rod. Is there something to do with a movable rod? Thing is, the way I look at it is these are all things that are being sealed because it's not just they're a magic item that went wrong, but they're a magic item that theoretically it it it's something that breaks the normal rules of magic and can cause more harm than good. So, for example, like some of them are purely for study, see the full bag of holding, but well, the Ring of Newton's third law, you try moving something, you're going to get punched in a direction. You've got the wings of flying, where what you're actually doing is reinforcing gravity in an area around you and because everything else is being pushed down, you're being pushed up. The problem there being, of course, if you walk past a building site, suddenly the building will collapse. Just see if there's anything that kind of screams. Could have spell scrolls for incredibly dangerous spells. Ooh, yes. What is the tree I'm thinking of? Curse of Strahd. Oh my god. Is it Easter Hill? There's a tree. There's a tree. Yes, yes, that's what I'm looking for. What's the name of the tree? The Gulthius tree. That's what I want. Yes. Ba, 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 ba. Messed up Luckstone is a bit too easy. Ba, 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 ba. Talking doll. We already have a creature that's a talking doll. Yeah, we'll see if we can come up with something based off that tentacle rod. Bloody end. Interesting. Codicil off the white. Volume. Thermal cube. No, let's not play with glue and salts. Let's leave that alone. Voyager staff, wand of binding, wand of enemy detection, wand of tangle, wand of fear. I think we have what we need. Yes. Okay, yes. That's good. Something else I'm going to need to bring up is... let's see if I can find the form. Put this back over here for now while I do the searching. SCP Wiki. Resources. Okay. Because this is going to be very important. Because while I'm not directly writing an SCP for the SCP Wiki, I am writing something based off the SCP Foundation. So we want to be sure what I'm writing is actually makes sense. just deal with the wonderful, wonderful world of cookies. And it is not the fun cookies either. The other thing I would want is... Ooh, shit. That wasn't what we wanted. Tell groups of interest. Who will guide to newcomers? Does it have the... oh wait, no, object classes was here. We can go with conjure. Okay. So let's have a look. You've class, Keter, Thormeal, neutralized. Apollyon, that one's new. Cannot be contained. Oh. Thormeal is used for other an Archon class. Fair enough. It's been so long since I touched the SCP Foundation. Right. So, how this is going to work is... how we probably want to do this is... I won't start items now. How we're probably going to want to do this is effectively... for each item there will have to be an in-universe report, like an SCP article. And there will then have to be a bit for the DM to read, which is just for the DM to read, and that is any unusual in-game rules. And then there will be a traditional D&D stat block. So if it's an item, you'll get a magic item stat block. If it's a monster, you'll get a monster stat block. And how I'm picturing it is, for this, each item or monster may have specific rules in the DM section that isn't to go in the stat block that a player could see, because they are effectively narrative rules within the confines of the adventure, which may be additional abilities, or it may be how the randomization works, etc., etc. That's probably how we would go about this. Yes. I think that's probably the best way to go about it. Yeah. So I'll probably need to think about adding some more items for the medbay and more items for kind of security that players might be able to pilfer. But I think long and short, this is probably what we want. I've got a bunch of magic items that are not necessarily going to be useful, but that players may find interesting creative uses for. Technically, there will be nothing to stop the players leaving an adventure with any or all the items. It's just that they might not be wise to take those items. At the same time, we've got a sizable number of entities to deal with. So yeah, I think at this point what it will turn into is writing the next thing we'll probably do, now I know what theoretically the players will deal with, is coming up with the layout. I don't want to do the layout first. I'll think about where we want to go from here. We might take a pause and jump into class stuff next time. Do some class working on. But I think this is a natural stopping point, which is great. So definitely want to thank everyone for coming, joining us today. And as we now look for someone to raid.